Hey, Brooke here. You're trying to talk to your parent about something that upset you, and almost immediately you get told you're overreacting, or it gets turned around on you, or it just simply goes nowhere, like you're talking to a brick wall. And eventually, you stop trying to explain yourself. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you already know where this is going. And that quiet realization that accountability and actually being understood isn't really on the table usually stems from childhood. Psychologist Lindsay Gibson describes emotional immaturity as a pattern where someone struggles with emotional regulation, avoids responsibility, and has difficulty empathizing with others. And when that someone is a parent, it shapes how you learn to understand yourself. Because it's not always loud or chaotic. Sometimes it just looks like inconsistency, conversations that don't quite resolve, a subtle sense that your emotional needs might be too much for them to understand. One of the most common patterns here is emotional invalidation. You're overreacting, it's not that serious, or just straight up changing the subject. Over time, your brain starts forming beliefs around that. This ties into attachment theory. Developed by John Bowlby and later expanded by Mary Ainsworth, it explains how early caregiving shapes how we relate to others. When emotional understanding is inconsistent, you don't just feel misunderstood, you form the habit of constantly questioning your own feelings. Emotionally immature parents also tend to struggle with empathetic attunement, a concept explored by Daniel Stern. It's the ability to make someone feel emotionally seen. Without that, a child can grow up feeling alone, even if everything looked fine on the surface. And it often takes years to realize that something was even missing, and that something is emotional safety. When that safety isn't consistent, your brain adapts. According to Jeffrey Young's schema theory, early experiences shape core beliefs like, my feelings don't matter, or I have to handle things on my own. And those beliefs don't stay in childhood, they follow you. You might struggle to ask for help, feel uncomfortable relying on others, or default to independence, not because you prefer it, but because it feels safer. And this can also show up in your relationships. Attachment research suggests that we're drawn to what feels familiar, not necessarily to what's healthiest. So you might find yourself drawn to people who are distant or inconsistent, because that dynamic feels like something you already understand. Predictable unpredictability. There's also a quiet tension that shows up later, because part of you understands your parents, their struggles, their past, their underlying issues, so you can feel empathy for them while still carrying the impact of what you didn't receive, which is hard because empathy and resentment are so conflicting, especially when both are valid. But this is where things can shift. Awareness changes the pattern. In psychology, this is called metacognition, thinking about your own thinking. The moment you can recognize this is why I respond this way, you create space between your reaction and a new choice. You get to question the beliefs you picked up early on. You get to relearn what emotional safety feels like. And most importantly, you can recognize that the younger version of you just adapted to an environment that didn't meet them emotionally. Because a lot of what we call personality is actually just adaptation. Anyway, thanks for stopping by the Brook of Knowledge. If you liked what your weird brain just learned, hit subscribe. If not, that's okay. I'll just go practice healthy emotional regulation, or at least think about it.